Okay, we're back to talking about New York because we need to finish this trip before I forget all of the details. We are on day 4. We start the day by taking a tour of Lincoln Center, and it's very nice. I mostly only cared because it was the fountain from the music video in Glee, because my only frame of reference of New York is that one episode where the Glee Club went to New York. So it was kind of iconic. But basically we went on this whole tour of like all of the like performance areas. There really wasn't anything remarkable to see there. Like, sorry if you really care about it. I was just sort of like, it's just sort of like a performance center. It's not like a wow thing, because I don't know anything that's happened there except for that one time that they shot that music video for Glee, so I don't really care. But the architecture looked nice, and that's what matters. Also, when we were on the tour of Lincoln Center, they showed us like the area of like the school of Juilliard. Even though Juilliard isn't like a school, they do have like classrooms. It was really weird because it's not like a normal college where it has like a giant campus with like the classes and the dorms. They just sort of have a bunch of classrooms in a big building, and then they have a quad, which is like the saddest thing when you could see it in person. It's maybe like half the size of a football field, and it's just like this triangle of grass on top of a bunch of stairs. Like, it looks nice, I guess. There was a person watering it, so I'm guessing it's like real grass, but that's just like so sad that like there's just so much like industrialization in that city that's like what they have as a quad. But Juilliard's pretty cool. That's like every performer's like dream school, but Juilliard's expensive, so that's a far off wish for me. But all I can really remember is like at the end of the tour, because our giant like tour group was split into different smaller tour groups to go through the tour of Lincoln Center so that they didn't have to take like 50 of us all at once. And our group came out last, and apparently we came out late because they wanted us all done by like 11, but our tour guide just wanted to keep like, you know, telling us some fun facts, educating us. So we got out at like 11:15, and like they were mad. It was so weird. It was mostly just the chaperone that was mad at us, and this is the day where she really just like takes a full, like, I already hated her. We were already at like 90 degrees, but now we've gone all the way to the opposite end of 180 degrees, because now I hate her because she just gets so mad for no reason. And I'm like, it's not our fault. Like, we didn't make the tour run late. It was our tour guide. No one told us, by the way, that we had to be back by a certain time. We just went on the tour. She was like, well, we've been waiting out here in the blazing sun for like 20 minutes because you guys were so late getting out of the tour. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not our fault. So annoying. But after that we go to lunch, and the lunch is delicious. We go to this beautiful French restaurant. I'm putting it on the screen now because even though I've been trying to learn French for multiple years, I don't know how to pronounce it. It has delicious food. I had a wonderful brunch. I had like a quinoa salad with some avocado toast and some gazpacho, and that is like the most like basic white bitch like LA brunch you can ever have, but it was so good. It's so good. I really did not like avocado before I had this, but I was like, I will try it. You know, New York's about trying new things. Then I have it, and the avocado toast was so good. It was, my mind has changed. So on this trip, I learned that I liked shawarmas and avocado toast, you know, learning new things about myself. And then we all center back after this wonderful lunch. And as you can see in the photo, I had like a giant bowl of gazpacho, because when the waiter asked if I wanted a bowl or a cup, it didn't register in my head that if I said bowl, that would mean more gazpacho. I just thought, oh, the serving of the is it a drink? Soup? The serving of the beverage would be put into a bowl rather than a cup. And I didn't realize how much gazpacho I had ordered until I was like, wow, that's a lot of gazpacho. And I didn't want to waste it because things in New York are expensive. So I was like, I'll take this to go. And they also had like this wonderful like bread counter. So I ordered like half a baguette in order to dip into my gazpacho so I could continue to eat it while I was continuing my day in New York. And we get back to Lincoln Center, because that's where we meet up after we were released for lunch. I'm eating my gazpacho with my baguette, and we come and we see the teacher and the chaperone talking, and they see us, and they see me eating my gazpacho, you know, living my good life. And the chaperone just sort of comes at me, and this is very much when any resemblance of me even tolerating her went out the window, because this is the most bitchiest thing that she has said to me throughout the whole trip. She was like, "Are you still eating?" And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, did you guys like not go out to lunch? Did you guys like just get your lunch? Like, did you just spend your whole time shopping? And I was like, no, we had lunch. Like, this is just the leftover from my lunch. And she was like, and you're still hungry and you can still like eat? Like, wow, I can't believe that you're still eating. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And like, isn't that the rudest thing? Like, it's not any of your business how much I eat or when I eat. If I am still eating, it's not your business. Are you eating my food? No, you're not. It's not going into your body. It's mine. I get to eat as much as I want. She kept coming at me. Like, this is the second time that this has happened. Like, on the first day, when my teacher wanted to come at me for eating a whole pizza, I'm like, what are these people not fathoming on the fact that I am a person who needs to eat food? It just keeps like boggling my mind how they don't understand that I'm a person who not only needs to eat but enjoys to eat and will continue eating no matter what other people say. Like, they had such an issue with it. I don't know why. We stand around Lincoln Center for a while waiting for people to get back from lunch. I take some photos on the fountain because that's what Glee got to stand on the fountain, and there was no sign explicitly saying that I could not stand on the fountain. So I stood on the fountain until a person with a whistle came and blew their whistle, was like, you cannot be there. And I was like, okay. And then I got down, but I took some nice photos while I was up there. And then from there we went to like this Episcopalian cathedral, and it wasn't the most interesting. They had like this whole like statue where Michael is killing Satan. It wasn't an interesting place to be because, like, sure, the cathedral looked beautiful, but like we couldn't really go in. We could go into just like the main part where there were like the gift shop, but we couldn't go in to like the main part of the church without paying money. So I was like, why are we here? And we wasted so much time there. We wasted like half an hour, and I was like, I don't know why we're here. And it was so hot. This is when the heat wave really hit like the high, like 30 degrees. It was really hot. It was awful. Like 32 degrees. It was disgusting. And then especially because after that, this was the big day where we went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And anyone who's even like seen pictures of the Met, like, they know how beautiful it is. I was only able to be there for a few hours, and we'll get to how angry I am about that, but it was so beautiful. The Met is like gorgeous, and there's so much good art. Oh my god, there's so much good art. And it was so beautiful, and I loved it a lot, but it was so big. And because it was so big and so full of art, there was no way any of us could get through it all, and that made me so angry because we wasted all this time like waiting around after lunch because people were late, and then wasting all this time at this cathedral that we could have been spending at the Met, because the Met has like 5 floors and it's huge. Like, there is art everywhere, and like you need to like dedicate a day to that. And the fact that like we only had, I think, like 3 hours to get through it was awful. But I took many photos. It was so gorgeous. I bought a bunch of things from the Met as well, if you would like to see the haul, which is again not out yet, but it will be. It's gonna be up there eventually. But it was just, there was so much beautiful art. There was this whole rule that we really couldn't go off anywhere without like a buddy, and like I get that, but my friends really tried to enforce that a lot more than I feel like they should have. Like when we were in places like museums, they were like, we all have to stick together. I'm like, we're in a museum, just like calm down. And I just sort of like left. It was really easy for me to just like, they would stand somewhere and I would just walk away, and then they wouldn't find me, and it was great because it was just so like, I don't need to be babysat in a museum. I don't need to be babysat in general. It was so stupid. But I took wonderful photos. They had this wonderful like fashion exhibit with a bunch of Alexander McQueen pieces, and it was just beautiful. Everything in there was beautiful, but we really had no time. Like, in order to like fully take in all of the art, there was not enough time, because there were statues, and there were like paintings, and there was fashion, and there was like furniture. There were like whole rooms of art. There was like reconstructed like rooms of what rooms would look like in like Victorian era with like furniture, and it was so beautiful. I really did not have enough time to like soak in all of the art, and it was just so frustrating because I just wanted like more time to be there. I was even rushed in the gift shop. Like, it was, I need to go back and just spend like a whole day there, because like I had a great start. Like, I had music, I had wonderful music, and I was like walking around the museum like just by myself, just having a good time, living that good art ho life. It was just so wonderful. It's a beautiful museum. If any of you have the chance to go to the Met is like absolutely beautiful. And then after that, we went to dinner. And this is another day where we have a Broadway show. This is our second and last Broadway show that we get to see. The way that we were working it out was that we were going to get on the bus and then go to dinner at Schnippers. I'll get to that. Wasn't a fan. But then after dinner, we would get back on the bus and then take us to the theater. So when I wanted to get ready, I had a perfect plan because my dress, gorgeous. I themed every outfit to what we were going to do that day, and this outfit was perfectly planned for the fact that we were going to see Kinky Boots. And I'll get to that show later, but I felt like the dress that I was wearing perfectly encapsulated everything. Like, as you can see, it is sequins the house down. It is so bright and glittery and gorgeous, and my heels that I brought that I wore with the other outfit match perfectly. It was such a gorgeous look. But because I didn't want to have to wear heels into the restaurant and possibly deal with a whole Buffalo Wild Wings fiasco where I had to climb down a flight of stairs with heels, I was like, if we're gonna get back on the bus, I'm just going to wear my tennis shoes under my dress to the dinner, and then I'm gonna put on my heels when we get back on the bus to go to the theater. So that's what I did. We get off the bus at the restaurant. I'm in my sequin ball gown, looking great, looking gorgeous, looking sickening, and I'm wearing my shoes, and everyone's like, oh my god, your dress is so pretty. I'm like, thank you, but don't look at my shoes. And I stand next to the chaperone and the teacher, not on purpose. We just were lining up by the wall and they happened to be there. They make some sort of snide comment about my shoes again. They're like, oh, have you decided to wear the heels again? Because they have such an issue with the fact that I want to wear heels. They're like, oh, you're already tall enough, you don't need to wear heels. Height has nothing to do with heels. Heels have to do with what you want to personally wear. Like, literally stop. Do not confine the fact that I cannot wear heels to the fact that I am tall. Like, it's so stupid. I don't see, like, yes, heels make you taller, but heels just in themselves provide a whole different purpose of look and confidence to a person and to their look. Like, you're not gonna stop me wearing heels just because I'm tall. So, goodbye. But they wanted to come at me and they were like, oh, are you gonna wear the heels again? And I was like, yes, but not right now, because I just wanted to wear my tennis shoes for right now to not like break my feet while we were at the restaurant. And then the chaperone said this next thing like really aggressively, where she was talking about how she had like decided to bring shoes that weren't comfortable, and now she was just wearing like flip-flops, and how she like didn't care about like looking nice anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but the heels are a part of the look and I'm committed to the look. And she was like, oh, well, you know, I've decided to just fuck the look. And I'm like, it was, the way she said it was so aggressive. Like, she was judging me for wanting to wear what I was gonna wear. And I'm like, what's your issue? Like, it should not bother you what I wear. Like, it's not any of your business. It has nothing to concern you with. Like, I don't know why she was so angry. Why I wanted to commit to the look I was committing to. But it was stupid. She was annoying. Blah, 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 blah. I hate her. This is the day where she really just made me hate her. But we go into Schnippers. Schnippers is, I'm sure that they are a wonderful restaurant, but when you're in New York, like, once in a lifetime opportunity, when you are in New York City, the Big Apple, you don't go to fucking Schnippers for dinner. It was probably just the cheapest option that they could shove like 50 of us in, but their food was not good. I'm pretty sure I ordered like chicken tenders and sweet potato fries, because they gave us like cards and they were like, write your name and like circle what you want, and I clearly circled sweet potato fries. Guess what I get when they bring me my food? Regular fries. That was upsetting. But when I bring that up to the waitress, she brings me sweet potato fries. So then I get 2 fries, which is cool, but also, why did they fuck it up in the first place? It's literally on the paper. I don't know. And the food wasn't good. Like, it was basically the same level of like quality food as like an Arby's, and Arby's is not that good, especially when you are in New York and there are like options. Like, actual, like, specific to New York options. We don't have any Schnippers around here, so maybe they are, like, specific to New York, but they're not, like, wow. You don't go to New York and you're like, yes, let's go to Schnippers. Like, no, their food was not that good. It was just really disappointing, considering the meal I had the night before in Little Italy. It was just like, why are we having this lame-ass food? But we finish the meal. We go to the Al Hirschfeld Theater, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, to see Kinky Boots. And, like, I feel like I could make a whole video on this, but the short and sweet of it, I did not like Kinky Boots at all. I don't know why everyone loves it. Maybe it was just the night that we were seeing it. Maybe it was just the cast that we were seeing it with. because there was once a cast where Lola was played by Todrick Hall and Charlie was played by Brendan Urie. There was once a dream cast, but I'm not saying that the people in this were bad, except for Charlie. I am very much saying that, but it was just not that strong of a performance. I feel like the plot, first of all, not that interesting, doesn't make that much sense, and the dancing wasn't as cohesive as I would like it to be. Like, when you expect Broadway, you expect the highest of quality, you expect perfect, like, precision timing. They didn't have that. Maybe it's just because I was comparing it to Hello Dolly, which is, like, beautiful and absolutely perfect, but they just weren't the best. And, like, the Charlie that we saw was, I don't know his name, but he's the lead singer of Neon Trees. I love the song Everybody Talks, but he is not an actor, and he's not a dancer. And you can so clearly see that he is not meant for Broadway. It's just, this is nothing against him as a person. I'm sure he's a great person. Like, his band is very popular. I'm sure that he's great, but his acting was so horrible, it made me want to laugh. Like, it was not good. First of all, I get that this is based off a movie in which it's actually set in England, but there is nothing in the story that specifically says it has to be set in England, and when you're putting it in America with American actors that do not have natural British accents, you should just put it in America, because having people who don't naturally have British accents, make them have British accents, it sounds awful and it sounds fake and it hurts me. Me and my friends could not stop making fun of it for the rest of the trip. It was just so, like, awful, because you could just hear that those were not their natural accents. It was, like, so overpronounced. They were like, "Oh, Charlie, I can't believe you've done this." It was awful. I don't know why. Like, there's nothing in the story that says that it has to be in England. It's just, that's how it is. It's like, oh, I'm up in the north and I have to go down to London. It literally could be any other city in the world. Like, there's nothing in it that's like, it has to be in London, because there's no culturally, like, important elements that says it has to be in England. So just put it in America and stop making these people have British accents. It's unnecessary. It doesn't sound good. And then I have this whole issue with Charlie's character. Charlie is an awful person. Like, he is, first of all, extremely rude, like, to everyone. He doesn't even have a redemption arc. His fake-ass redemption arc is fake, and I hate him. Like, the whole thing where he, like, has the phone call to Lola, and he's like, "I realize what I've done is wrong, and I'm so sorry about the way I've treated you, and I'm going to go to Milan, and I just wish you could be there with me." And it was so fake, because I strongly believe he did not actually mean that apology. He just said that because he was being bullied by all of the people that he worked with. They were all telling him how much of a shit person he was. He was like, "Well, everyone's mad at me, guess I gotta apologize." I strongly do not believe he had any character development at all. He was such a shitty person. I don't know why he's the main character. If anyone should be the main character, it should be Lola. Like, what? He is an awful person. He's an awful, awful, awful person. He doesn't treat anyone well. The whole point where he, like, disrespects Lola and just says, "You're like a man in a dress," or whatever. Like, rude. Rude, 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 rude. Also, the script kind of problematic. When they like talk to the audience and they're like, "Ladies and gentlemen and people who have yet to decide," like, how about you just don't be transphobic and, like, you know, conform to the gender binary? Maybe just don't say that. Like, it was very unnecessary. The only real character that had character development was Glenn. Glenn is my favorite character. Glenn, like, he actually grew as a person and learned from what happened. I don't know how the hell Charlie became the main character with his fake-ass character development and his, like, awful nature of just being a person, but it should have been Lola and Glenn in the storyline. Charlie does not need to be the main character. He is such an awful person. But we saw the show, and, like, when we were there, we were in the very, like, high back balcony seats, and, like, the first, like, 5 rows ahead of us were, like, empty. And I'm not saying anything besides Hello Dolly was pretty much a packed house. If that speaks to the quality of the show in any way, you take that as you will. Very much in comparison to Hello Dolly, I much would have rather seen that show twice than this show. Like, it wasn't that good. And I was so excited for the show, because when we first got, like, the list of shows that we wanted to go see, we said we wanted to see Kinky Boots, and we wanted to see Chicago, because Kinky Boots is, like, the show. Everyone's talking about how good it is. And then we see it, and we're like, it's not that good. It could have just been an off night. I don't know. Maybe it's, like, a phenomenal, because they have won like a bunch of Tonys, so it has to be good in some way, but I really did not think it was that good. Also, by the way, in this phone call that Charlie's having to Lola that's supposed to be very serious, and like he's actually like coming to terms with like how awful of a person he is and what he's done is wrong, even though he really didn't. Like, I don't know why the actor did this, but every time he said a line, he would stick his neck out forward like a chicken, and it really fucked me up, because this was supposed to be like the serious moment in the story where you're supposed to feel like sad and bad about everything that's happened, but I actually had to stop myself from laughing because he was just like, Lola, I'm so sorry about what I've done to you. And I'm like, stop moving your head. He also can't act at all. Like, every line that he said that was so obviously supposed to be said with some sort of like emphasis or emotion, everything was flat. He had no emotion in his portrayal at all. Like, everything that he said was just the same tone, the same delivery all across the board. And I'm like, that's not how you act. Like, acting is not his strong suit. And I'm glad that he is a musician, because he could sing. Like, I love his band as it is, even though I only know that one song. I'm sure that he's like a great musician, but he's not an actor in the slightest. It was not that good. But regardless of that, I ended up buying some merch from that place because the idea of the story is great. You know, queer characters and drag queens. So like, that I support, but literally everything else was trash. Like, on the way walking there, we saw like the theater where they're playing The Boys in the Band. Me and my friends wanted to see that so bad. We are so upset that we had to see this instead, because we're just like, that show, I'm sure, would have been great. But this show was just, you know, low-key transphobic. Just a little, you know? It just wasn't my favorite. I am sure that people love this show, and with their own reason, and that's fine, but I very much did not enjoy this show at all. And the tickets to this show were like double the price of Hello Dolly. Like, I don't know why we had to see this show, but it's fine. It's in the past. But that is day 4 in New York. I very much enjoyed all of my time in New York, but comparing this day to the other days, this day was probably my least favorite. But I did very much enjoy the lunch that I had with my friends. I enjoyed seeing the fountain from Glee. I enjoyed being able to wear that gorgeous outfit. So overall, like, putting the big picture on it, this was not a bad day. But out of the 6 days, it wasn't my favorite. But the day after this day is definitely one of my favorites, because we got to do the thing I'd been looking forward to the most for this whole trip the next day. So watch the next video to see what that is. He did not actually mean that apology